been spotted, and these storm spotters have watched these storms stay on the ground for a very long period of time, and that's where we find the most concerning situation tonight. We want to make sure that everybody is staying safe. We're still here at 8 o'clock, WHO 13 in Des Moines, Iowa. Meteorologist Ed Wilson, along with Gabe Prough. We have Jason Parkin, who's here, and of course Jeriann Ritter, who's been here since before our noon show today. She's still here taking, again, care of us, making sure that we stay updated with you as we go through this late evening hour for many of us. We're getting into that weekend time as well. Also, of course, don't forget about the Drake relays. I would imagine they're still under some delays. They thought maybe they would go until 9 o'clock as they had tonight because they had delays earlier, but make sure that you're staying safe for sure. I'll get out of the way of this new tornado warning until 8:30 for Adair, Clark, Madison, and Union counties. An inch in diameter hail there as well. As we continue our live coverage, Winterset, there's and also you go down to Mount Airy, Jason. I see what you're doing there. That's where we're finding those decent signatures and moving toward Grand River. I know there's some folks in Mount Airy that may have some damage possibly there as well. We'll see if that tornado held together, but it moved right across the city of Mount Airy. That signature line really concerning me as we go through the evening. I want to make sure you guys are safe.
All right, we just have one confirmed tornado still on the ground, and of course that's in Union County, but again, we are seeing some very strong rotation with these storms. Let's show Max 2 if we can. We are getting reports of a few farmsteads south and east of the Creston area that have been damaged as well. We haven't come upon any major injuries. That is some very good news. We're also still getting reports of rotation around the Afton area, and that was about 5 minutes ago. And again, Union County continues to be a big concern, as well as Madison County, as this tornado warning continues to cause problems. Now, things are starting to calm down a bit in northwest Iowa. Again, we still have some strong to severe thunderstorms moving through these communities, but at this point, we're not seeing anything strengthening. So that is really good news for the short period of time we have here. Jason, do you have something?
We actually have a picture here on Max 1 from
we did.
Shauna Phelps. Okay. It's still up there.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the tornado near Creston, where we've had to repeat your town's name over and over. I'm so sorry for that. We love Creston, but not when it's tornadoes like this that are just outside of that area, kind of in a rural spot. But we've had a lot of damage reports from western Iowa. I've seen a lot of the pictures and video, and we'll be going back and doing stories on your towns for quite a while, as we've seen such severe weather coming out of Nebraska today. Omaha, Lincoln hit so hard, but now we're on the receiving line of this, and thankfully these tornadoes not looking the same dynamic scale that we saw earlier. We were talking EF4, EF5 earlier today. We'll see as the National Weather Service steps out and gets the surveys going tomorrow just how strong these were. But hopefully everybody's safe and sound, but I think we can be thankful that it wasn't the same type of tornadic outbreak that we found on I-80 out in Nebraska.
Boy, big hook on radar here south of Winterset.
Oh yeah. Zoom into that. That is a classic looking hook right there where we see and it's again very close to, getting closer to our metro and closer to our radar, but that is showing a classic hook, and you can see again some pretty decent signature around this guy as it continues to move north to east. South of Winterset, you need to be seeking shelter. Winterset as well. Make sure that you're doing that. The Patterson, Bevington, Martinsdale area coming right through 832, coming just on the southwestern corner of West Des Moines, past the airport, down along I-35. So anybody traveling across I-35, they're running into that. We showed you earlier Elias Johnson's view from their live camera. It is just almost a blackout now with the dark conditions of night, but also that heavy rain. It's just hard to see what's going on. We have this confirmed tornado outline north of Afton and just now outside of Creston, right along Highway 34. But we see this decent signature, a couple of them. Maybe
yeah, a couple
Afton,
of them there, yeah.
but right here as well, just to the west of Lorimore. We're picking up these twists that are being indicated on our radar, that inflow, outflow of the wind that's spinning around these tornadoes. So we haven't seen a lot of great signature here of what's called the debris ball. In particular, we saw a couple of them, but just recently, now we don't see that type of indication where it's picked up debris from hitting buildings or picking up dirt. Anything that has a solid structure to it, the radar really picks up. It can see all of that, and it really lights it up for sure. Tornado warning now in effect until 8:30 for Adair, Clark, Madison, Union. Inch in diameter hail is also a part of this scenario. The largest hail size that I've seen, an 1.75 inches in western Iowa, a part of that same area, I think up near Shelby. But also now we're getting some indication here. I wouldn't be shocked maybe if we have some hail aloft within that system just in the northwest corner of that warning.
Yeah, and speaking of hail, boy, does it look like it down here to the west of Grand River and southeast of Tingley. When we look for something on radar called a hail spike, where actually the radar beam hits the hail, hits the ground, hits the hail again, and goes back to the radar, and so it paints this false area down this blue area you see to the south of Elston, south of the purple down there. And when we see that, we know that we've probably got some pretty good size hail there, and this storm has continued to show that signature here. But let me get a bead on where the rotation is, and then put a storm track on this for you here. Looks like southeast of Elston. And again, this is so far away from the radar, it's tough to see exactly where this might be on the ground. The radar beam here is probably 6,000 to 7,000 feet up, but I think somewhere in this area. And let's see who's in the path here. Grand River about 811, or rather 817. Beaconsfield about 811. So
they just updated that warning as well, just kind of shrunk it down a little bit.
Okay.
Pushing it farther to the north and the east.
Okay.
But yeah, please seek shelter. Don't think that this is over with, guys. We're still looking at what has been such a busy night that even though normally this time of the evening we see that cooling effect, we usually see these tornado warnings fall apart and get into some colder air. But we're still holding on to a lot of moisture here, but also the dynamics where we have the wind speeds down at the base level at a pretty decent clip. We were going up to 38, 40 miles per hour, and then aloft as well, where we're seeing these stronger winds, which have started to die down maybe at about 2,000 to 3,000 feet. We've seen a little less of that high-end wind, but boy, that signature of a hook right there, and when you saw that velocity scope put in there where it's going between the reds and the greens, boy, that is a perfect indicator. It's kind of a classic, almost textbook view of what a tornado looks like when you're studying it. Patterson, Bevington, Martinsdale, Cumming. You need to be seeking shelter now as the system continues to pull out this tornado, moving straight to the north and the east. And we do have that expansion, of course, of our tornado watch that has been expanded farther to the east. So we're all watching this system as it gets closer and closer to Des Moines. Again, we've been on the air since just after 6 o'clock tonight, making sure that you stay safe. But as long as there's tornado warnings, we stay right here. Our storm team coverage will continue even as we go through the late evening hours. I think by 10 o'clock, we may see a fewer of these severe thunderstorms or the tornado warnings, but it's still going to be a lot of information that's coming our way out of all of these storms. East Piru and to Winterset, 829 to 833, so just south of Des Moines, straight south almost to the airport. That's an area that we do want to make sure you stay safe, even though it's outside of this particular highlighted cone or polygon. There is a tornado warning ahead of that, and that, of course, when we have that pink level, that means that they're still seeing a tornado on the ground. Well, that has lasted for a long time tonight. Clark, Decatur, Ringgold, and Union counties. Look at the hail size on this, 3-inch diameter hail.
I believe it, the way that signature has been.
The way that hail signature showed off with such a high, intense, I've not seen one like that for a while, and nor have I seen 3-inch diameter hail in Iowa for a while. But northwest of Grand River, that's where that hail dump is happening, and it is moving straight to the north and to the west, or off to the north and west.
Getting reports out of Union County that troopers are reporting that poles have been snapped, and that was near 12 Mile Lake Road and Highway 34. So that is in southern Iowa. And as you can see, these communities still remain under tornado warnings. The areas shaded in red. I do want you to be in your basement if you're around Osceola or St. Charles. Thankfully, the greatest threat, if we could go in closer around the Creston community, it does look like the strongest storms are finally starting to move out of the Creston community. But if you're just starting to experience one of these strong to severe thunderstorms like around the Winterset area, just know that these storms have been back building. So Afton area, Laura Moore, right around Highway 169, looks like a distinct rotation right there.
It is so broad and so bright right there as well, as you said, west of Lorimore. This storm line has been really fascinating at one point because we see these rebuild. It's not a typical scenario for tornadoes in Iowa, but tonight we are going outside of the box for what we usually expect, although this is our severe weather season, so we are trying to be prepared for anything. But the three tornado warnings there down to the south that extend into that severe thunderstorm warning from Creston back down to the south and west, all a part of the same system. And as you mentioned, Jeriann, the back building, meaning that we have storms that are building on the backside of this system as it moves through and are still creating some severe thunderstorm warnings. So even though you had a tornado warning, now we have these storms that are creating, again, some large hail and damaging wind. There was that, it's pretty good looking area, that definition of some hail just to the northwest of Lorimore. And notice how all of these tornado warnings now tracking. We have a new tornado warning that's in effect for the just near St. Charles and moving up toward that area that's just highlighted for the moment. That's for Clark County. And we're also seeing Madison and Union counties underneath that. If we, there you go, just put the clear button.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
And Jason will take that for us. And then down to the south, we do have these, again, tornado warnings down for Osceola, back down to the Iowa-Missouri border. These lines of storms that have just created a lot of tornadic activity tonight just continue to put a spell on us. There we go. Gabe Prough here as well. We have Jeriann on the pedestal here at
Pedestal.
That's what I call it.
Okay.
Whenever you're on it. But this is where we again are seeing that severe weather storm team coverage for you this evening. We are going to continue as we go through this evening's hours, and we thank you for putting up with us. I'm just watching our camera out in Waukee just getting dumped on. Right now we are seeing just an amazing amounts of rain coming in on the west side of this of the metro, and we'll still see these storms moving our way as we go through the rest of this evening. That's that warning that you're looking at right now from Lorimore back up into the area just where St. Charles begins here. That's just straight south of our Des Moines International Airport, and that's where we have these tornado warnings that are lining up right to the doorstep of Polk County. So Madison and Warren counties, that's that new warning until 8:45. We'll continue to see this polygon or the push of these storms moving straight to the north and the east. These are all radar indicated, but 3/4 inch diameter hail. We also had a 3-inch diameter hail signature coming back from radar, again, down to the south. So this is going to be an extraordinary event. When we put together all of the storm reports that are going to be layered on top of one another tonight, as we go through our 10 o'clock news, it will be something we'll be talking about for a long time. That tornado warning for Adair, Clark, Madison, Union counties in effect till 8:30, and that's where also just in that area outside of Creston. Now, thankfully for you folks moving to the north, but Lorimore, you need to be seeking shelter. Anybody between Creston back up toward Winterset, you need to be seeking shelter right now. And there's that 3-inch diameter hail. That's down in that Clark, Decatur, Ringgold, Union County, southern Iowa. You get just hammered. And look at that again, the signature where we have those purples. We get again pretty amazed at that kind of signature that comes back. Again, it's quite a ways away from our radar, but the hail trails that we see here, the hail track is coming back, and that is where it probably had the core dump, where it just storm couldn't hold that hail any longer, and it all dumps at once, kind of in a big core.
By looking at the radar, my strongest storm that I'm seeing right now is this one right around the Grand River area. And that's where it's still indicating some hook returns. But we are getting reports out of Madison County that the circulation is starting to weaken. So that is really great news. Now, yes, Right.
Aaron,
It's,
yeah.
it's starting to form more into a line. So I want your attention to go here to this storm just to the west of Van Wert. And that's where we're seeing rotation. Oh, I'm on max 2. I'm sorry, but Jason's explaining it to you right there. But you see Osceola, Van Wert. There is a severe thunderstorm just to the west of Van Wert that would be capable of producing a tornado, okay? But then notice how we're now south of Des Moines, right around Winterset. Lorimore still looks pretty strong around Lorimore, but it's starting to line out just a little bit more. And that's good news that we're not seeing the circulation. That said, this is still providing heavy rainfall as well as some very strong winds associated with it. Let's go in and just check some of the wind gusts. So far, I bet we've got some good 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts as well. So, I mean, I don't want you to let your guard down, but thankfully we're not seeing those long-lived tornadoes continue to strengthen. This is the strongest radar return I'm seeing, and that's just to the west of Van Wert and getting closer to Osceola. That is a community where I would be seeking shelter. And again, that's right along I-35, and that's located just to the south of the city of Des Moines. Around the city of Des Moines at this point, we're seeing rain at the west Mixmaster, rain around Waukee, with all of the tornado warnings located just to the south and west of the metro area, with that strongest storm headed right for Osceola.
We're seeing that on our WHO 13 sky cams as well. You can see all that at WHO13.com. You can watch us as we're here doing live streaming as we go through severe weather. And this is, again, just a time for us to make sure that you're staying safe, you're staying in your place of shelter, especially when you're in these red polygons that are all still lighting up much of that area along I-35 south of Des Moines, back over to Creston, right through the same area. And when you start to see kind of a corkscrew move within this system, as we put in a little bit of a loop here for you, that's where we start to see some of that heavy duty rain moving in. Now, we're just on the start of what is going to be a pretty busy weekend. I think it's going to dry out Saturday morning, but then Saturday night into Sunday, we're going to see a lot of extra rainfall. Strong to severe thunderstorms still possible, certainly over southern Iowa tomorrow night, right in this same spot. We want to make sure you're weather aware. And then on Sunday, not as much of the severe weather, but a lot of rain. So we could be talking about flooding, which is pretty extraordinary when we've had 4 years of drought. And we've seen better conditions on our drought monitors here, but this is going to be that kind of system. I'm just looking off to do a live shot here from Elias Johnson in the car that he's in, and this is some amazing heavy-duty rain that's coming in as they're coming, I think, closer to the Des Moines area from Van Meter, Boonville. They're in Boonville right now, and you can see they can barely see the lights ahead of them. Look at all that lightning just streaking across this system as it moves in. And definitely hard to see. Elias, it feels like you're just seeing the very front end of the car.
That's right, Ed. We are east now, Boonville. We're actually coming up and going to connect with Grand Avenue in a minute. We're going to make our way to I-35 so we can head south towards Osceola. The big thing that we've been dealing with is the pooling of water on the road, both on the interstate when we're on I-80 and then also on these roads here with so much rain coming down. And we're just seeing a ton of lightning. This isn't to the ground lightning, but so much lightning up in the sky, just lighting up everywhere we're going. And you know, obviously the sun is setting now, so it's just dark. It's not completely the storm front we're seeing, but lots of lightning. We haven't seen any hail yet, so that's good news for those of you in the metro, because this system is passing over us to the north and east as we are southwest directly of the Des Moines metro. But there is a ton of water and lightning. We're not seeing a whole lot of wind at this point, which is also good news. We were worried, I know earlier, about straight line winds. We're not seeing a lot of that, but it's certainly you got to be on your toes at this point, and if you don't have to be out here, don't be out here. We're monitoring everything. We're listening to you. We're positioning ourselves in places that are not in a direct line of any of the severe weather, and it sounds like things are starting to weaken just a little bit, but tons of rain coming down and lightning, and we're going to make our way down south on I-35. Our goal tonight is to get over to Creston to assess some of the damage reports that we're hearing from law enforcement, give you some of those visuals, and just make sure everybody is safe and wasn't hurt in this storm event tonight.
Thank you, Elias. Make sure you stay safe. We are looking at tornadoes that are showing up very well on our radar. This is near the Patterson area, that tornado warning that we'll talk about. But take a look. This is our Osceola camera. Of course, it's getting toward the very, very twilight of the evening. But that massive storm is moving right across Westlake into Osceola, which is straight south of Des Moines on I-35. That system is going to move through, and you're going to find a lot of dynamics within these storms: hail, lightning, wind, tornadoes, and then we're going to see, again, just a lot of rain coming our way over the next couple of days. Near the Patterson area, Jeriann just pointing out this tornado warning that is still in effect there. We're getting some a little bit of that green and red, the inflow, outflow, the gate-to-gate shear. That's when we have a tornado indicated, but also just a crazy amount of hooking on that particular tornado as it moved across Highway 92 just to the east of Patterson. Of course, Patterson, you need to be in your shelter. We've been talking about your area throughout the evening. We want to make sure that you stay safe, but that rotation is pretty dramatic. We've had, again, radar indicated tornadoes, and once we get so dark in this time of the evening, when the light is just not available, these radar indicated tornadoes will take over, because either the tornado is rain wrapped or we just can't see that tornado. And you're hearing all of our phones go off because we do have a tornado warning now right into our metro. So for the Prohl area, back over to Cumming, into West Des Moines, this is on into our area now of the metro. You want to make sure that you are seeking shelter right now. Prohl, Cumming, Norwalk, West Des Moines. Talking about people out, of course, at the Drake relays tonight. If they're still going on, there may have been so lightning that they postponed it for this evening. But this is another tornado warning moving right across our metro here in Des Moines. So we've been covering everything happening to the west of the central Iowa area. Now it's on our doorstep as well. That tornado warning in effect until 8:45 for Dallas, Madison, Polk, and Warren counties. 3/4 inch diameter hail is certainly possible, but it's coming off of that same area just north of Martinsdale, where we've been watching the tornadoes throughout the night tonight. And then, of course, a lot of hail moving our way right across Highway 6. That's Hickman back up near Waukee, and then into the West Des Moines area. Coming, that's just about the area where Elias was earlier, just a few minutes ago, driving south, and there's that tornado spin here just west of I-35, just to the west, actually down around the Cumming area, Norwalk, back up toward the west side of southwest Des Moines. You want to make sure that you're really staying weather alert. Get to the safest place in your house or the building you're in. The Commerce area at 831, West Des Moines, 836. These are all the ETAs of this tornado. 843 for Des Moines, and then Saylor Township area at 849. It's going to move right across the I-80, I-35 corridor, the crosshairs here. So a lot of folks in this area, again, dealing with a Friday night, getting out, maybe getting, again, in on the Drake relays, but make sure that you stay safe. And just heard from our producer, Paul Liepert, that the Drake Stadium was evacuated. We did stories earlier today about what does that mean? How do they entail that? The Drake folks, they're not really immune to any type of severe weather. We've seen all of it, it feels like, here over the Drake relays, but they have evacuated the Drake Relays Stadium, the Blue Oval, tonight. Here's that storm that we have down right at Patterson, just to the northeast of you.
Kind of broader rotation there, Ed, but it is there.
Yeah, it is kind of, you're right, kind of falling out a little bit. Maybe some of that hail, again, coming down just to the north of Patterson, that may be falling out of that storm as it kind of pulls out. Jeriann?
Oh, no, I was just trying to get my computer to post this. I'm sorry. So I was making motions.
Well,
Could
we
you
can
please?
take
we wave it.
But I do have a track on Max 2 here right now. And again, we're talking around the Patterson Cumming area. I just want to give folks in Des Moines a heads up. This storm could continue to hold together, and it had a history of large hail as well as tornadoes. And this does include the Des Moines metro area at 8:40. So that would be in about the next next 20 minutes making its way into the capital city. So it's a good idea right now, and you can see the color of that tornado warning changed as it is a confirmed tornado as well. And it is.
Grab the, on Max 1 or grab the debris. You can see a debris ball on that.
Oh, yeah.
Switch over to
Sure
Max 1
enough.
real quick, guys, back in the control room. That's that bright spot that we've been talking about. And when we see a debris ball, that means that it's probably hit some structure that is either, again, pulling that debris up off the ground, but it does give us that indication that there is definitely some debris floating around within that tornado as it has done some damage there. So
You can almost make out a little hook right here to the west of Cumming, kind of to the west side of that line. And that appears to be where the tornado is. I'll put the storm track at the tip of it. It'd be right here. Yeah, and again, with the debris ball, obviously we have a confirmed tornado headed right into the metro. So folks need to be in shelter for sure.
yeah, wherever you live on the south side, and we have the thunder and lightning hitting right outside of our studio here. And by the way, if you wondered, when we have tornado warnings here, we do have safe places in the basement to stay. We make sure that we keep our folks safe. This building happens to be all cement. That's a good thing, where we can stay away from the big windows on one side of it, but it is a safe place. Here's that tornado warning, and again, when it's highlighted in that pink, that means that it is confirmed. It's the storm spotters have seen that. We saw the debris ball coming off of that bottom of that tornado as it continues to move to the north and the east. We've had 3-inch diameter hail showing off earlier tonight down in southern Iowa, so this is just a dramatic area here where we've seen just some extraordinary severe weather events tonight that are going to take a long time to clean up. It's going to be a long time before you forget about this evening if you live in any one of those areas. So West Des Moines, back up into the Urbandale, Clive, West Des Moines area, downtown Des Moines, all the way back up into the Saylorville Township. You guys need to be seeking shelter. Here's that bright debris ball, which is, again, our radar picks up anything that's solid and really starts to illuminate it from our radar. So it gets up to very high DBZ levels of return. And when we see that, we know that there's something more than just rain. And when it's just isolated like that, usually more than just hail, but again, a tornado that has been confirmed, that's what you go to when you see that signature on the radar. This system still is moving north and east. These storms, the whole system is moving to the east and it's kind of lengthening out, as Jeriann mentioned earlier. When we start to see that, usually that means that we're going to calm things down just a little bit. But we now have this tornado warning for Ankeny, Pleasant Hill, Des Moines, West Des Moines, and Commerce. So 8:30 through 8:54. If you live in these areas, make sure that you seek shelter. I'm watching our Iowa's Weather Channel off to the corner as well, and it's showing off, again, our coverage for you. Just a reminder that you can find that information and live streaming at WHO13.com.
Yeah, I don't know if my mic is up.
There you go, Gabe. Gabe's mic.
I'm just pinpointing this area where the tornado is being picked up by radar. If Jason wants to zoom in tight with the debris there. Sure will. It's right north of Veterans Parkway. This is approaching Grand Avenue, the intersection of 60th Street and Mills Civic. So this is West Des Moines we're talking about, where this confirmed tornado is headed toward. Radar is picking up debris being lofted by the tornado. Once again, you see the intersection there of 50th and Mills Civic. The tornado looks like has just crossed Veterans Parkway, just east of Grand Prairie Parkway there in the West Des Moines area. So this is going to be headed off toward Ashworth Road. They're really kind of the Jordan Creek area as well.
It's just to the west of I-35, so you're right into the Jordan Creek area. You're looking at it coming out of the northern portion of Norwalk, moving right along that I-35 corridor. A lot of folks right there. You need to be seeking shelter. Make sure you're in your safe space right now. Especially, we put out the warnings, but we want you to take them seriously. It's been a long evening, and you may think, hey, we've got to be out of it by now. Do they know what they're talking about? Because Des Moines, we haven't had anything here yet, but we are very serious about this. We want to make sure that you're staying safe. Get to your safe place. Make sure that you're in the basement, away from any type of windows. As I said, if you're traveling, often you can go to a Casey's or a Come and Go, any convenience store who have these big freezers or big refrigerated areas. It acts as a great place to be when you're in a tornado and traveling. But that debris ball,
there are these myths about
huge.
Metro areas and being safe from tornadoes, and or this myth that we're safe here in Des Moines because two rivers meet here, and that none of those are true. And here we're seeing it playing out, unfortunately, as this comes into the southwestern part of the metro. I will widen the view out here and again give folks a look at this morning. And obviously we don't want to forget about the folks in southern Iowa as well, but this is a highly populated area we're moving into. So again, 8:45 is the tornado warning for Dallas, Madison, Polk, and Warren. And obviously we're going to keep an eye on this and obviously not forget about the folks down south as well.
Right, we're just kind of really focused right now on this particular spot that is a confirmed tornado. It's right over the largest population of the state. We have another confirmed tornado still holding on from Creston back down to the southwest of Lorimor. That confirmed tornado line has stayed there throughout the last, it feels like, an hour as we've been watching that continually build in. From Lorimor down to Osceola, please seek shelter. You guys need to be very careful along that area right around Highway 34. We were watching the hook that is still forming there. We watched that just within the last couple of minutes from our Osceola camera at Westlake. Please make sure that you're seeking shelter. This one moving to the north and the east. And it'll be at Leslie at 8:35, Osceola at 8:43, Woodburn at 8:52, and in Liberty at 8:58. A lot of tornado warning boxes here, just kind of lining up in this cluster between Osceola, Lorimor, Winterset, all the way back up to Indianola, and of course this bright area here. This is from the just southwest of the airport, moving across I-35, coming. You need to be in your safe space right now, along with northwest Norwalk, southwest West Des Moines, back into the downtown area, right over downtown. You need to be seeking shelter. You're all within that tornado warning, and there's that bright spot right west of I-35. And again, this is that area right along Highway 5, of course, the airport just straight over to the east of there. And this debris ball is still holding on. We're still watching this as it's hit some structure, we believe, and it's still probably not picking up dirt at this point. That's a very, very bright line there, and we'll see if we do have some reports, possibly, sadly, of some damage here out of this system as it moves into the metro. We're getting a very, very distinct signature right there as we see just down, there it is, right in the center, right about where that debris ball is going on, and that's where we have that rotation that is showing that tornado is still very strong, still moving to the north and to the east. This is going to be, again, not trying to play on drama, just want to make sure that you're aware and you're prepared, but make sure that you're in the lowest level of the building you're in. Bicycle helmets certainly help. Make sure that your feet are covered, that you wear proper shoes, because if you have to get out, God forbid that your house might have been damaged, you don't want to walk with your bare feet across a bunch of wood or spikes that are left out there, I should say nails. From the Raccoon River Drive, and there's 360th Street, and there's the Veterans Parkway. I love that area there. You need to be seeking shelter right now. EP True Parkway, moving across I-35 into Fuller Road. We do have, again, just a lot of homes there, but also a lot of restaurants, businesses right in the mall area. We want to make sure that you guys are seeking shelter right now. This is a new sweep of that as we go through, and our radar is just going to continue to show off that isolated cell that right there has that debris ball moving right across I-35. So there's certainly some debris that's going to be left out in the fields and areas, maybe even yards, as we go through tonight, but that is showing off just a spectacular return on that particular warning.
I took the radar off of my computer here on Max 2 just so you can see if you are in this tornado warning right now. And again, as Ed keeps describing it, it's in West Des Moines right now, tracking off to the east, northeast. But Urbandale, Johnston, Grimes, the city of Des Moines, Pleasant Hill, all of these communities remain under this tornado warning for about the next 15 minutes. So the best thing you can do right now is go seek shelter in the basement. This is located near the West Mixmaster. It's really in between the West and the East Mixmaster. It's just south of the city of Des Moines at this point, located in West Des Moines. So we do want everyone in the basement. You can always stream us on your phone and just turn the volume up. That's the best thing to do. You can also also turn up the volume on your television. But we do want you to seek shelter if you are in this red box. These are the areas of concern right now. I'm going to move it around just a little bit just so you can see. Waukee is not in this tornado warning, but again, we'll be watching for Ankeny as the storm continues to pretty much track off to the east-northeast.
Jeriann, I want to take a minute just to say, as this system is now coming into the Des Moines Metro, again, we're moving into an area with a lot of apartment buildings, that kind of thing. Again, I'll use myself as an example, where I don't have a basement. I don't really have necessarily an interior room where I live, so I said I'm coming into work because I feel safer there. So if you're in an apartment building and you can get to a lower floor, we want you to do that if you possibly can. Otherwise, again, as Jeriann's showing you here, most interior room, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you can get underground, that's the best place to be, as this really is going to be tracking through the West Des Moines area, eventually head up toward Urbandale, Johnston, those locations, and eventually down the line closer to Ankeny.
Gabe is on one of our computers right now, which we can't just put on the air, but it's showing almost 2 debris ball signatures off of that system that is just southwest of Des Moines. So that's what we're really preparing for, is a very large tornadic activity that's moving through. Right now you're looking at Osceola, so this is that area that we were watching earlier, and that definitely has that signature of that tornadic activity with that, again, the counterclockwise roll here with that inflow to outflow between the reds and the greens right across I-35. Now let's go up just a little bit and show that area that we were focusing in, again, right into that southwestern corner of West Des Moines. Let's zoom way in and see if we can see that signature that we were showed, that I was watching on Gabe's computer. We'll see if we can show off that signature, but it looks like almost 2 different debris balls here that have kind of split up now. But when he was really zoomed in, we were showing that right around, again, just the Prairie Creek area just southwest of West Des Moines back into Clive, Urbandale. You need to be seeking shelter right now, guys. We're going to watch this thing move right into central portions of the metro. It is still an observed tornado that is on the ground, and we have some amazing signatures to, again, reinforce what our spotters are showing us right across I-35. This is going to be a dangerous situation if you're caught in this. And as we mentioned earlier, Gabe, we were talking about you when you weren't even here. We were talking about you on the air, coming in, getting out of that apartment again, to make sure that you stay safe. Of course, it's hard to sleep when you're a meteorologist and you're seeing this kind of stuff. You almost have to be there. But look at that split right now between here down to here. That, again, just saying that there's a lot of signature coming off of this that is indicating that there are more elements than maybe just debris ball going on here, but it's getting very close to the radar as well, so it gives us a good indication. Look at that hook right there, right around I-35, straight down to Highway 5, the bypass down south of the airport. You need to be, can't stress it enough, seeking shelter as this thing continues to move back up to the northeast. And as I said, with that highlight with the pink around that outline of this tornado warning, that means that there is a tornado. It's been observed by spotters that are trained, and we still have a lot of the evening to go through. Some of this could be rain wrapped as well. There's a lot of rain coming down, and I'm looking out and about. There's a lot going on. We have a couple of live shots that I'm watching as well, but I can see the lightning off of our live view from our cars. Lots of rain, almost hard to see, but also it looks like there may be some damage that we'll be talking about with our news crews a little bit later. Yeah, Jeriann.
Yeah, I did want to go back to the tornado warning still in effect for Clark County as well, because we are seeing some rotation around there. And this would be in Osceola, and we do have a camera located there at the hotel and casino. I don't know if a few folks back there can just check out our cameras. I know it's dark and it's going to be difficult to see, but just be mindful that we do have a tornadic system located right along I-35. And again, this is right around the Osceola area. All of these communities remain under the tornado warning, and that is in effect here for about the next 20 minutes as well.
Just watching again this cell that's closer to Des Moines, as we need to keep track of everybody here. Make sure that you're staying up to date. But Clark County, again, make sure that you're seeking shelter. We're just watching that debris ball that we were mentioning earlier. It looked like it just exploded, kind of fell apart, which is good news. It does mean that we've lost part of that signature, but this is still an outline that we want to make sure that we really focus on with the highest population of the state of Iowa here, right over Des Moines. We want to make sure that everybody is staying safe as it's moving to the northeast, right across I-235. We care for everyone's home, property, and of course, safety and health. We want to make sure that you're okay with this as the system moves through. But as we're focusing right now from Aurelia back up through Des Moines, West Des Moines, you're going to find that right into the downtown area by 851, Saylor Township at 858, Ankeny, the eastern edge of Ankeny, and Bondurant at 903 to 907. So right along that area up to Bondurant, the diagonal highway that goes all the way up to Marshalltown, that's going to be an area. If you have folks that are driving there, you want to make sure that you're staying safe. We're going to go to Elias again. Elias Johnson is out in one of our storm cars right in West Des Moines, and this is what it looks like now. If we can see what it looks like, my goodness, Elias, that is some intense stuff you're dealing with. What's going on?
Ed, in the last 5 minutes, we're seeing hail. We're seeing just conditions you can't even see anymore. Cars have been pulling off. We are just off of Highway 5 at Southeast 35th Street on the overpass, and the winds have picked up. We're getting pelted with hail right now. The winds have been continuing to shift in all different directions, and just not ideal. Tons of rain coming down with this system, and this is the worst it's been so far since we've been out. And so we pulled off, and the hail is really what's really picked up now as the system is coming in. And again, we're just east of I-35, off of Highway 5. We're looking to the southwest right now, and there are still some vehicles trying to make their way on Highway 5, but as far as being in the thick of the storm right now, I feel like we're in it right now. And hopefully most of these cars will just pull off. The hail feels like it's getting bigger. You can definitely hear it in the car as it just hits the sides and the tops, and yeah, it's bad out here right now. This is definitely the thick of it as it heads into the metro, Ed.
Safe, but also thank you, Elias, for staying safe, but also keeping us up to date on what's going on. We're going to take you back to the radar right now, and this is a great reminder. We have a brand new tornado warning actually just to the southeast side of the tornado warning that we have out into Des Moines, but there's a Zach Bryant concert going on down at the Well tonight. There's a lot of people in downtown Des Moines because of Drake relays, people that aren't used to our city. We want to make sure that everybody stays safe. Make sure that you are staying in your safe place right now, and it may mean that some of those folks may have to wait out the storm with Luke Bryant's music. Maybe he's loud enough that you won't even hear it as it goes over, but hopefully everybody is staying safe, and they do have a protocol there as well to make sure that they keep their patrons safe. Dallas, Madison, Warren, and Polk counties underneath this tornado warning until 8:45. The outline there just showing off that polygon, and on the right-hand side of your screen, you're looking at our downtown camera. This is from Principal Park. You can see that lightning taking over our sky here. Also some heavy, heavy downpour. And as we mentioned, there's a lot of hail that's falling outside of this, or within this system as it moves to the north and to the east. A lot of lightning as we see the lightning tracker just moving that system, along with that system, right across I-35. So we want to make sure that you stay safe. If you're out at a venue like Wells Fargo, or if you're at a concert or at the Drake relays, you need to think about lightning strikes, one of the most dangerous things we deal with folks that are caught outside in severe weather. Here now down to the south, New Virginia, Osceola, across Highway 69 and I-35. There's a very good line or a signature here on this system as it moves to the north and to the east. That is a classic tornadic signature right across that area. You can also see probably some heavy-duty hail coming out of the back side of that system, and then it's all moving straight to the north and to the east. It's going to be in Liberty by 9:52, Medora by 9:57, and into Cool, very small towns there. Some of these towns actually that show up here are old railroad towns that are actually not towns any longer. But if you know that particular marker, it does help people to stay safe. This is continuing straight to the north and to the east and moving up to that area just now south of Des Moines. that we want to make sure that we stay focused here from our St. Charles friends down to Truro, Piru, West Piru, or East Piru rather, down to the south of us. You still are under tornado warnings. And this is
not seeing
a
much
great,
there, Ed, right? You know, in terms of rotation anywhere.
yeah,
But
this is good news because as this system moves closer to our radar, we get a very good signature of what's going on. And it does look like it is falling apart to some degree, but I'll guarantee you there is, with all the hail that was falling on top of Elias's car in that storm vehicle, there's going to be a lot of hail that we're talking about in the damaged field within what we have seen tonight. Tornadoes hitting smaller communities, big communities, Omaha dealing with a lot of, looks like major damage there. Even Eppley Air Force Base just touched by this tornado outbreak tonight and doing a lot of damage. So Osceola, back up to New Virginia. You guys need to be, again, still staying in shelter. We want to make sure that you stay safe. And then back to the north, all of these polygons just kind of overlapping, looking like a patch quilt as we go through this evening. But there's that big signature. That's the hook that we talk about. And then behind it, it does look like maybe strong wind that's elevated up into the radar signal, or it could be hail that's being
Ed,
dropped out of that.
we're down to 2 warnings now.
That's a very good thing. I can't tell you how happy my voice is, and just generally
So
how
the
happy
metro
I am for
warning
that.
got dropped.
I see that right over the metro, and you saw that as well. Good eye there, Jason, zooming in and taking that velocity scope. You can all just see it just fall apart all at once. And now we have this next tornado warning that is still hanging on right around New Virginia, outside of Osceola now, and moving to the northeast right across Highway 65. There is that spin right over just northeast of Osceola. We've watched this move just kind of to the north of Osceola, but make sure you're still in your safe place there, folks. Make sure that you're staying as safe as possible as we're passing this information along to you. We're going to continue to see that line race back up to the north and the east. So we're just down to 2 warnings now. Jeriann.
Getting some good news out of the Minden area. We told you earlier about a tornado that touched down there, and unfortunately the pictures are coming in very devastating, but only 1 injury reported so far, and that person was taken to the hospital with a head injury. And of course, that's what we always try to tell you to do with flying debris. We want you to cover up your head. I'm seeing the strongest radar return right now east of Osceola at this point, but you can see around Des Moines, we are just seeing mainly rainfall. So these storms are crossing over I-35 and weakening somewhat, but this is where a tornado warning is still in effect. And of course, this is indicating a hook echo there, and that would be right around Highway 69. That tornado warning is in effect for Clark, Lucas, Marion, Warren County, and that's in effect now until 9:36. So just to let you know, right now we're at 8:46. That's the exact time. We thank you for staying with us here at WHO 13 as we continue to see this historic day. Unfortunately, a very damaging tornadoes move across the state. Now, this tornado warning right now that we're focused on is the strongest one we're seeing on radar. And all night we've been talking about these tornado warnings, most of them usually highlighted in pink or purple, indicating confirmation that this is actually reaching the ground. But because it is so dark right now, that's a distinct radar return showing some rotation there right around Highway 69. And again, that would be south of the New Virginia area as well. And that is now east of I-35, south of the Truro area, south of St. Charles. All of these strong to severe thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes are now south of the Des Moines metro area. But it's starting to work its way into cooler air, so I do think these will start to weaken. There's a track on this tornado warning, and this is showing communities right around Milo by 9:16. Again, that would be in about the next 15 minutes as that tracks off to the east-northeast. But I really think for the most part that will be going over open fields. But this would be near Indianola.
Yeah, and just south of our metro. And again, just to make sure you know that the warning has been lifted for the downtown of Des Moines, for the metro, basically, the outline of the metro of Des Moines. But we want to make sure that you stay weather aware, make sure that you still have a safe place to go. But down from our friends that are just south of us here down in the Osceola area, moving back up to these. I love these little towns that are still here on these maps where we pick up, again, just basically a signpost that is an idea of where the storm is moving, but that is moving to the northeast at around 40 miles an hour or so. Let's go farther down to the south and the west if we can and look at this tornado warning that's still in effect for Murray, back down across Highway 34, back into that area. We want to make sure that we're keeping up with those guys as well.
You bet.
There we are. And from Tingley, there's a pretty good looking hook just south of there as well.
So the theory here with these storms is that they're in this area that's been worked over already and that the rotation will stay elevated. We don't know that for sure, obviously, so you want to play on the safe side of these. There's definitely rotation there. Well.
And here goes our phones again, letting us know that the Metro is back into a tornado warning.
I wonder,
shelter now again.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, Gabe and I were just looking at that. Oh, now you can see the appearance on radar has changed.
Right. And so here you see from the Des Moines downtown area, but now back down toward Pleasant Hill, from Runnels, Carlisle, all the way through the fairgrounds area, and then back up into the Colfax area across I-80, Colfax, Mingo. You guys need to be seeking shelter. And boy, that again is a pretty decent definition of that inflow outflow as we go through the area just across Highway 69, just south of the airport. I'm sure the airport now not letting anybody in or out. I'm sure there have been delays across many areas. We did hear about some damage in the Omaha area at the airport and some flights canceled. So make sure that you are checking out and with your friends here in Pleasant Hill, from Ivy, Mitchellville, and Prairie City. This line is moving your way from 8:57 until 9:17. All of those towns are going to be in the line of this, but you can see how kind of broad this is. So right across this area of the east side of Des Moines, southeast side of Des Moines, moving right back across those areas, even Pleasant Hill, as I said, Carlisle, I would be seeking shelter as well. You're within the warned area, so we want to make sure that you stay safe. I mentioned earlier, these polygons are kind of a fan, kind of showing the direction, and we kind of give it a little bit of a leeway when we get out a little bit farther from these systems, especially when they're moving fast. It's hard to tell exactly where they're going to be, but if you're in a warned area, no matter when it is or where you are, make sure you're seeking shelter right now. Here we are with that, again, the last hour. This thing has picked up some speed, I think, as well. But from Ankeny, extreme downpours there. You're outside of the warned area, but for a tornado warning. But from Des Moines back down through Carlisle into that Pleasant Hill. Also, we have just right off of that area around the fairgrounds. Here we are in southeast Vandalia Road, which goes across Highway 65. And here's the very point of the strongest area across Indianola Avenue and East Army Post Road. That's where that guy is moving, and it's moving to the northeast at a pretty decent clip, up to about 40 miles per hour. Is that right, guys?
Yeah, the track is probably not accurate for times there, but I just wanted to show folks the direction it's probably moving. So
sure.
If there is a hook there, if there's rotation, it'd be right there crossing Indianola Avenue. Not terribly far southeast of the station, actually.
Yeah, very, very close to us right here.
Southridge Mall area, I would say.
Southridge Mall, yeah.
And it's moving northeast at 30 right now.
At 30 miles per hour. The whole system looks like it's picked up speed, but this isolate itself moving back down to about 30. I did see 38, 40 mile per hour, but as Jason mentioned, it's hard to tell exactly how fast this thing is moving as we're just outlining these tornado warnings and the signatures off of the tornadoes, which is still pretty amazing.
Don't see debris, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't take shelter for sure.
Yeah, there's that hook that's just to the east of Highway 69, right between Highway 69 and 65. This is what Jason was just talking about. You can see that outline, and this is moving northeast. So if you live in Vandalia Road, right off of Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway, past our downtown area, past Principal Park, but very close to that. So make sure that you're seeking shelter there. There's a lot of apartments in that area generally, and we want to make sure that you have a safe place to be when you have these tornado warnings. You may have underground basements, that's always great, but make sure you stay at least away from those windows. Even in an apartment, stay back away from the windows and put as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible. A bathroom is an excellent place if you don't have a basement because it does give you a little bit more security within those big storms. A lot of debris can fly around with this. We've seen that signature tonight. Pleasant Hill, you guys are within this. Dean Avenue back up to the north near the fairgrounds, and then Southeast 30th. There's a lot of open space there, but a lot of folks that live right in that region. You better make sure that you stay safe.
I do want to go through that tornado warning just so you can see exactly if you're in the tornado warning as well. And again, this is the greatest area of concern at this point in between Des Moines and right around Pleasant Hill. It's on the south side. That's showing that tornado warning. But yeah, well, let's go back over to Max 2 here so I can walk you through that tornado warning in effect at this point and just take off radar and show you communities that are in the track of this strong to severe thunderstorm. Again, this continues to include areas south of Des Moines, also Jasper, Marion, Polk, and Warren County. I'm going to click over here just to show you where the watch is and where that tornado warning is in effect as well. That red box is indicating on the southeast side of Des Moines is where that circulation is located. So in this tornado warning at this point, we've got Altoona, Carlisle, Reynolds, Colfax, all bigger communities in this tornado warning, and that will be for about the next half hour. I'm hearing you guys make sounds. What are you looking at exactly?
We're looking at the signature of this particular severe or tornado warning. It is so pronounced as a hook. It almost looks like on a couple of the velocity scopes we've looked at.
I'll head back up there.
Like a complete curl around, but that's a great view right there as well, just from the radar signature down to the south of that other tornado warning. But look at this little, it looks like an elf's boot. I don't know how else to explain it, but that hook goes all the way around, and you can see how it's coming over Evergreen Avenue, south of East Martin Luther King Parkway, beautiful area that's been expanded into the east side of Des Moines, Vandalia Road. You guys need to be seeking shelter right now. That is such a tight spin of this tornado where you're getting almost this little notch here from Martin Luther King Parkway where it just curves all the way around inside of this. And again, not to get too excited, we do get excited about keeping you safe, but also when we see the dynamics of this, it's pretty rare to see that type of hook pull in like that. And again, with all the debris that we've seen in our signatures from tornadoes tonight, it's just amazing. Maybe even a little bit right there, Dean Avenue back over to Pleasant Hill. We'll be checking on that as it moves straight to the north and to the east. But Jeriann, that's exactly what we were talking about. Is I looked over the shoulders of both Gabe and Jason here as they were.
We're kind of nerding out over here.
Yeah, well, it's something to be concerned about and something to be very, very.
I will say I have
of.
been doing this for almost 25 years, and I have not seen a storm complex quite like this one tonight. Unfortunately, we have had some very big destructive tornadoes move across the state and in Nebraska as well. We are getting word from the governor's office that she has declared a disaster area for Pottawatomie County. Now, that's where we started you out tonight around 6 o'clock, and that would have been the tornadoes that you saw earlier around the Council Bluffs, Omaha area. But again, we're on air right now. It's almost 9 p.m. I'm meteorologist Jeriann Ritter. We have Ed Wilson here, Gabe Prough, Jason Parkin. I see Megan Salwa is busy checking out social media stuff, keeping you updated there as well. We're live streaming. We've got Janae Town here ready to go. Elias is out on location. We thank you for staying with us here at WHO 13, where we do have, unfortunately, more tornadoes still showing up on radar.
And as we get to the top of our 9 o'clock hour as well, we provide news for Fox 17. We'll be simulcasting so that we make sure that everybody stays safe as we go through this very long night. Again, I did have, and I'm telling you, as a meteorologist of almost 40 years, do not interrupt Wheel of Fortune with a tornado and tell them that you're not going to see that again. So it's going to be on tonight at 2 o'clock in the morning. Set your DVRs, okay? Yes. And now we're still looking at this monster hook that's still showing off from Milo to Sandyville. That's straight southeast of the Des Moines Metro.
Hill area. At 9 o'clock, a confirmed large, extremely dangerous tornado was located over Pleasant Hill.
Yeah, you
it
can
is
see it
moving
on-
northeast at 35 miles per hour. Again, this is being considered a particularly dangerous situation. Please take shelter now. And again, communities near the tornado would be Des Moines, Altoona, Pleasant Hill, Bondurant, Adventureland Park, Prairie Meadows, and this will remain in effect until here for the next half hour.
I think that might be debris that we're seeing there then.
Yeah,
north
that's
of
what I saw
Vandalia.
earlier. We were talking about that hook that, it's not so aptly named, the elf boot with a little hook on it, but that is where we're seeing that debris right
There's
now.
a new scan right there too. You
Yeah.
can see it. Yeah.
So that is debris. Again, terrible news because we don't want to see anyone hurt within this, but it does look like there will be some damage that we'll be talking about from that area. So seek shelter right now. If you haven't already, you should have been throughout the Des Moines Metro, southeastern portions. This is a second tornado warning for the Des Moines Metro tonight, and both of those were observed tornadoes. So you can see, as Jason is pointing right up across Highway 65, just as you head to the southeast of Des Moines, that is a debris signature that is showing off those very bright colors. So this is a moment where we try to tell you what's going on within radar. When we watch radar come back with that kind of an elevated signature, it goes by dBZs, but when it gets up to 60, 65, 70 dBZ, well, that's extraordinary, and that's what we're seeing. Everything that is solid, we even see birds sometimes as they migrate. Anything that's solid really shows up on radar, and that's what's happening right now. So take it seriously. This is a tornado that has been on the ground, that has picked up some debris, that continues to move to the north and to the east. Make sure that you are seeking shelter in all of these crosshairs here, from Maple Drive back over to Northeast 6th Street and across Highway 65 just to the southeast side of there's Adventureland Drive. Adventureland's right there. The Prairie Meadows Casino, I'm sure, has their people seeking shelter right now as the system moves straight to the northeast at around 30 miles per hour. But that is an extreme view of a very tight signature, very large a signature that's coming back with usually debris from homes or buildings that is being pulled in by this tornado. So not good news at all for anybody that lives there. Breaking up maybe a little bit here, but as we get new scans, it'll start to show up for us, and we'll still continue to see these, though holding very, very well over the last couple of scans anyway. Just continues to move to the northeast, and we want to make sure that you're staying safe. This is right outside of downtown Des Moines, as Jeriann mentioned earlier. We have Luke Bryant down at the well. This is, again, a very dangerous situation. We want to make sure that everybody is safe. And we have so many people in town that aren't normally here in town. We have a lot going on with the direct relays, concerts, things like that. It's a weekend. People come to Des Moines so much to see great stuff, but this isn't what you probably signed up for tonight.
Power flashes are being reported around the Pleasant Hill area as well. That is an indication of some very strong winds, unfortunately, probably taking down some power lines. Again, that is tracking off to the east, Mitchellville. You'll continue to be under the target of this very strong storm that is capable of producing a tornado. And again, right now, the strongest part of the storm is located around Highway 163, Highway 65, and it looks like it's starting to move out of the Pleasant Hill area, thankfully.
Yeah, and we are here keeping you updated. We have 4 of our meteorologists right here tonight. We also have meteorologist Megan Selwa, again, showing off again what has been going on with her social media. You can follow all of us, and when we're busy like this, it's hard for us sometimes inside of this situation to keep you updated on social media. So follow all of our meteorologists, Jeriann Ritter, Megan Selwa, Jason Parkin, and of course Gabe Prough. We will be here to make sure that you stay updated, even when we can't on the air. Our other meteorologists are covering our backs. So this is a live view, of course, from the Adventureland area. This is where it looks like there may be some, hard to see. This is such heavy rain, high wind as well, but certainly it's a good sign that we're still at least seeing a signal from the top of the storm chaser, so aptly named for this particular camera, that we're able to still show you that. But there may be power outages in that same area. In fact, we may have just lost it right there. Not sure. It looks a little bit like it, but it was hard to see exactly how much was going on with that signal, with that picture. Here we are now across Highway 65, Mitchellville. You guys need to be seeking shelter. I-80 from Altoona all the way over to Colfax, Prairie City. Please make sure that you are calling those that may not know about this. So many of us have our apps, the free 13 Warn Me app. It is a much better situation where it's been proven to save lives, but that's why we're on the air as well. We want to make sure that you stay updated. This is WHO 13 from Des Moines, Iowa. Meteorologist Ed Wilson here to keep you all the way through the rest of this evening, even as we are simulcasting with Fox 17, and I believe WHO Radio was taking our signal as well. Jeriann.
All right. I just wanted to go through the tornado warning on Max 2 here because I'm seeing some reports on social media. Are we not in the tornado warning any longer? I want to explain who is still in that tornado warning. Again, we keep talking about the tornado, extremely dangerous around the Pleasant Hill area, and that's where we're hearing reports of power outages. Again, Altoona, you're still in the tornado warning, as well as Mitchellville, the Colfax community, Prairie City. Now, the city of Des Moines itself is no longer in the tornado warning. Areas to the west, no longer in the tornado warning. You're clear. Now, take you to the south here. This is the other tornado warning in effect that we talked you through just south of New Virginia, right around the Indianola area. Again, parts of Highway 65. And these communities still remain under a tornado warning. Those are areas we want you in shelter. Also, right around Murray, that's where we're continuing to see that tornado warning, and that's along Highway 34. So those are the 3 tornado warnings in effect. Again, the strongest part of the storm is south and east of Des Moines at this point, tracking off to the east, northeast. Newton is in the target to experience these storms here within the next half hour to hour. We have been anticipating the last hour. Hopefully they would weaken. We are seeing some weakening overall, but unfortunately they're still capable of producing a tornado.
Just got word from my friend Mark Saylor talking about Union County. Highway 34 is closed now between Afton and Creston, and there is an ambulance command center at the Walmart parking lot, which is a phrase you never want to hear. But Highway 34 is closed now between Afton and Creston for folks down there.
Well, we kept repeating Afton and Creston over and over with this tornado line that's down in the southern portion of the state. We're kind of focused right now in this area just right outside of the Des Moines metro, or Des Moines downtown, but from Altoona to Mitchellville, you guys need to be seeking shelter as well. That is a very tight area between the red and the green. That's what we would look for inflow and outflow around the radar. When the radar does a really great job, and look how fast that new run just came through here, moving it farther toward Mitchellville. So
there's still good circulation there.
Please seek shelter right now. Anyone from Altoona along I-80, lots of hotels there, Prairie Meadows, Adventureland, and then right back up to Mitchellville. Please seek shelter. We're pleading with you to make sure that you stay safe. This is not the time to be driving either. We showed you with Elias's view, that getting back into safety is what we want them to do. Even our storm chasers like Roger Riley want to make sure that they're staying safe. Yeah, that does look like maybe another debris ball there that shows off some debris that's being pulled in by this tornado that may have hit a building. We're not sure. We can't obviously tell until we have storm spotters out there and law enforcement telling us what they're watching, and even first responders trying to keep them safe to get in and out of here. But northeast 80th Street and the corner of northeast 46th Street as we just move southeast of the Des Moines downtown. So this would be south of Altoona, right along Highway 163, which heads off down toward Pella. But Pella, you're not within this warning. It just kind of showing off, making sure the people here in the metro know. And boy, that is still a decent signature around that northeast 46th Avenue. Moving right up to the I-80 corridor, right toward Mitchellville. Make sure that you are seeking shelter right now. People driving in that area, hopefully have the alarms set on their phones with the 13 Warn Me app or whatever weather app. We love that you use ours, but we just want you to be safe. But that is a significant signature that doesn't do my heart great good.
No, it doesn't.
It does look like it's something that has been hit is throwing up that debris ball.
I really thought when these storms got to our area and they hit this colder air from the rain earlier today that they wouldn't survive, but boy, this thing really is cranking through the east side of the metro, unfortunately.
Gives you some idea of just how strong of a storm system this is. For this late at night, for them to still be holding together, we have all the ingredients, unfortunately, for these to continue to advance off to the east, northeast. But the most concerning cell right now, obviously pretty glaring around I-80 near Altoona, Mitchellville. Again, I just want to remind folks in Colfax and Mingo that you are also in this tornado warning.
Well, and I'm talking to some friends who actually have a home. Their kids live in Pleasant Hill. They're seeking shelter. They've been watching our coverage. They're thanking us, but well, they're my friends. Hopefully they're watching, you know. But we want to make sure that you know why we've been on the air tonight. These are not atypical tornado outbreaks that we're talking about from all the way from Lincoln, Nebraska, past Lincoln, all the way along I-80, and then stretching now over the last 6 hours right into Des Moines. So this is a spectacular line that does have that power to recreate these tornadoes even as we go through the next hour or two. We may still be on the air with you here, and we are with WHO 13. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning that is popping up as well. These storms, even though they're, again, tornado warnings, they're still going to leave in the wake maybe those severe thunderstorm warnings, and that's why we're still under a watch, a tornado watch for central Iowa, and now it's been expanded out to the east of us. But there's that tornado warning just to the south. Severe thunderstorm warning now for Fort Dodge. We're getting into the Highway 20 corridor. Folks, if you felt left out, I'm sure you didn't. But that's another very strong line, gusty wind extending out of this bow echo, moving right through Fort Dodge, Hamilton County, or I'm sorry, Humboldt County and Calhoun County, Webster County. Now, underneath that tornado or a severe thunderstorm warning, it is not a tornado warning. It is a severe thunderstorm warning, and it is moving straight to the east along Highway 20. So everybody there needs to be seeking shelter, staying inside. Again, these are not quite as violent as what we've seen with these tornadoes, but don't take it seriously because you just can't sleep on these. They can do a lot of damage. Here from Indianola down along Highway 65, that's where we're finding that same cell that's maybe breaking up a little bit, but that is a tornado warning as well from that spot just across Highway 65 and back up toward Indianola, Sandyville. You folks need to be just south of Pleasantville looking for this storm to continue to move to the north and the east. These systems are not weak. They are holding together.
This one, well, there's still rotation there. It almost looks more like convergence down here now, but yeah, I mean, definitely you want to still stay in shelter down here in this southern warning. I'll put a little info on here for you for those of you who maybe haven't heard it yet. But Lucas, Marion, Warren, that's in effect for 19 more minutes here, 9:30, that warning to the south.
Do you see what's happening to the west? We need to take Max 2 here just a second because we are seeing some more thunderstorms redevelop around the Creston community. There's just one band in between Fort Dodge and right around Creston. Now, the one around Creston is below severe weather criteria. But again, we just pointed out that severe thunderstorm warning close to the Fort Dodge community. Again, the tornado warnings are just to the east of Des Moines. But we are actually seeing some back building of some more rainfall and some more thunderstorms on these areas that have already been hit extremely hard tonight.
We did hear about some damage in Creston. Again, no injuries reported out of that particular area, but I do believe that Elias Johnson in his storm chaser is going down there to check on that tonight late to see how those folks are doing. But yeah, when you have this kind of damage and you have now heavy rain and lightning, it can be very dangerous as well. Into our double box, we have the radar showing off that storm line as we get throughout central Iowa, but also I believe that that's Elias. I'm not sure if that's his storm car that we're watching. Yeah, so Elias is still moving along and looks much better than what it was earlier when you were around coming, Elias. How's it looking now and where are you?
Yeah, Ed, we are just heading north on 65. We're going to hit east on I-80. Power's still on here in Altoona, which is good news. We did come across some debris along the road headed north. north of University and Vandalia Road. So not a ton of debris, but there was definitely some chunks of things that normally don't sit in the road. But right now, as we're coming up around the Adventureland area, we can see the Bass Pro Shop. Everything looks good so far. We haven't seen any emergency vehicles with their lights on. We did see a couple of county sheriff's deputies pulled off, staging, and now the rain has stopped. Which this has been the norm tonight. You're either getting pounded with rain, hail, and wind, or there's nothing. And we're going to come up right now onto I-80 East, and you can see off in the distance, you're going to start seeing more lightning as we come up. And that is the cell that just went over Pleasant Hill and went over the Altoona area. But we're not seeing anything that is indicating that something massive came through here or damaging, at least from what we can see. I don't want to diminish anything that may have happened to some folks if they were hit with some winds and possibly a touchdown. But right now the good news is there's not a lot of people out here, and other than just a few pieces of little debris along 65, as I said, it looks okay right now.
Well, and it's good to see the power is on as we're driving, Elias. We can see the lights along the interstate there are still on, and that's a very good indicator as well. When we get these major storms that give a power surge and can wipe out transformers, people may be without power for a while. We heard about 6,000 people in the Council Bluffs area were without power earlier. So now here are our new warnings, or the warnings that are still in effect from Mitchellville.
That's a new one down here.
That's the newest one from Jasper to Marion and Warren counties until 10 o'clock tonight. And this one is, again, moving farther to the northeast, but we're moving it right across Lake Red Rock, north of Knoxville, west of Pella, staying away from you guys, but make sure that you stay with this storm, okay? Stay weather aware. I know it's kind of a term that we use a lot of, but we don't want to have you take it for granted, because these storms can redevelop. And this is a perfect scenario tonight that will teach all of us that, you know what, these can redevelop and become strong to severe thunderstorms and then tornadoes as well. The outline here from Altoona back over to Highway 163 toward Prairie City, that is still highlighted as an observed tornado. It's in that pink outline. The all strong red boxes there, those are tornado warnings, primarily radar indicated. But let me tell you that at night it's so hard to see these tornadoes, rain wrapped as well. Just very dangerous to be out storm spotting with this kind of situation. But again, our law enforcement, first responders are out there helping. And that's an amazing signature there, guys.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Milo, yeah.
Sort of debating whether there's debris signature there or not still. There very well may be. Gabe and I were just talking, and we'll have to talk with the Weather Service after this, because the velocity and the debris have been kind of offset from each other, and sometimes they'll change the way they scan storms during severe weather, and one scan may come in at a different time than another. But if I put this into motion here, I mean, it certainly looks like that could be debris coming up from the southwest.
And moving right across I-80. So
right.
For people traveling there from the truck stop just on the Bondurant exit from that area, make sure that, again, when you run into a situation like this, you pull over. Don't go drive underneath the bridge and park there. It's one of the worst places where it actually increases the velocity of the wind and can do more damage to your vehicle. And again, just be very careful when you have these scenarios. But now it looks like this is not so much an observed tornado warning. If I'm looking at it right, I think my eyes are still holding on here, but it does look like a tornado warning now from Mitchellville all the way over to Colfax.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Still a spin there. It's radar indicated for sure, but it does look a little bit better.
Yeah, and obviously they're right in keeping this warning going. And again, still trying to, definitely could still be some debris there with that storm.
And I'm looking at one of our other computers that's actually running the long-range view of the radar. There is another line from Stewart that Jeriann pointed out earlier through Greenfield all the way down to southwestern Iowa that is just redeveloping, not severe weather, but a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning within that system. So we're looking close up here from our tornado warnings, of course. That's where we want to focus this evening and have been throughout the night. But these 2 tornado warnings in effect for Jasper and Polk County, and then back down toward Monroe. That's where we are focusing tonight. We have, I believe, 3 tornado warnings still in effect. These go until 9:30. So again, if you're watching WHO 13, we've been on the air since just after 6 o'clock this evening. We're here to keep you safe. Want to make sure that you're aware of where these tornadoes are. They have been on the ground. They've been flying through here from western Iowa, Nebraska, all the way now up to our doorsteps. Now east of the Des Moines area, that one in effect until 9:30. But on a wider view, there we are from Pleasantville back down into that Highway 65 area just south of Indianola. Melcher, Dallas. This is that tornado warning for Jasper, Marion, and Warren counties, all highlighted here. That goes until 10 o'clock tonight. That's the newest tornado warning that we have. And I believe this tornado warning is still until 9:30, I believe, for that area.
Check that out. Yeah, 9:30, so another 11 minutes. There's not much in the way of rotation there, but as we've seen tonight, that's meaningless because that rotation can redevelop pretty quickly, so definitely stay in your safe space down there in that southwestern warning for Lucas and Marion and Warren counties.
I did notice earlier too that when we go wide out and show the tornado watch, the tornado warnings, there's even an aerial flood warning or advisory just out near that Carroll area, just east of Carroll. And on the wider view, you can see that big long line that's redeveloping off of the severe thunderstorm warning for Fort Dodge. We're not forgetting about you folks up there. Make sure that you are staying safe tonight. Stay away from windows. Kind of treat it, severe thunderstorm warnings can, again, generate tornadoes at any time. But this is this line that is from Stewart all the way back down through Creston, Clearfield, moving behind this system. So redevelopment of this storm line is now occurring, and this is something that we're going to be concerned about the next couple of days. We have a lot more rain to deal with here as we go through Saturday evening. There's another good chance for some severe weather. We're in the 3 out of the 5 zone as far as risk levels here south of I-80 and down into southwestern Iowa, areas that were hit hard. And then even into Sunday, there's even a very slight risk for severe thunderstorms, maybe even tornadoes, but a lot of extra rain. So we're going to be talking about, as I said earlier, so hard to believe that we've dealt with 3 to 4 years of drought, and we're talking about flooding now in such a short period of time. This little sliver right here is still that tornado warning that is just moving along I-80, not as dramatic as far as kind of like going north and south, kind of maybe splitting up that rotation.
Man, I sure hope that's dying out.
Yeah, we do, and we hope it continues to do that. But take a look, it's right back down south again if you can, Jason.
Sure.
Just scoot down just to the west of Pleasantville. Look at that area that still has some dynamics that either is maybe some hail, gusty wind. There's
plenty of rotation.
Yeah, a lot of rotation in that one moving right toward Pleasantville. You folks need to be seeking shelter right now, right along that Highway 5 corridor back up to Highway 92, and then just to the west of Pleasantville. Make sure that you are checking the folks that live there and yourself to make sure you're in the lowest area of your building that you're in, away from windows. Can't stress enough, we repeat this mantra over and over, but it saves lives. As we mentioned earlier, just one person that had an injury out of one of the previous tornadoes, but was a head injury. So make sure you're covering your head, covering your feet if you have to get out. God forbid that your area was hit hard. Don't want to step on anything.
It's amazing to me that all we've seen tonight and all the tornadoes and all the warnings and I hope this holds true, and I'm sorry that person got injured, but if that's all we see out of tonight, that's fantastic news.
Well, it's a blessing, and you think about what has happened in Omaha and Nebraska. Gabe just said, thank gosh we're not dealing with what they did in Nebraska today. That was just an amazing view. It looks like a pan shovel went across some of those areas out to the west of us in Nebraska. So we think about those folks too.
I want to go back through who's in the tornado warning and who is not in the tornado warning right now. So if we could go to Max 2 just so we could show you. Again, the areas in red are the reason we're on air right now because of the tornado warning. And I know some of you may be seeing on your social media the images coming out of Omaha as well as Lincoln or maybe even western Iowa. But that was earlier in the day during the peak heating of the day. Lots of these tornadoes moving through right now, we hope are continuing to weaken, but still producing rotation and damage, but they're not quite as strong as what we did see earlier in the day. Okay, so these areas in that tornado warning, again, Mingo, Mitchellville, right around the Colfax area, and that would be the area along I-80. But I want to remind you, the city of Des Moines just under that tornado watch, and areas to the west of these communities are in the clear right now. Monroe area still remains under that tornado warning, as well as Pleasantville, and the Milo community is still under that tornado warning as well. And we do have some thunderstorms redeveloping just to the west of this area, but at this point they are below severe weather criteria. It looks like you're seeing some pretty strong radar returns once again.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this area down by Pleasantville. There may be rotation there. It almost looks more like convergence, like wind coming together and rising up into that storm. But that warning still remains in effect there, and so folks should obviously take it seriously given what's happened tonight. Let me show you what we're dealing with down there. So this is until 10 p.m., so we still got a ways to go for this morning for Jasper and Marion and Warren. And again, there's certainly perhaps some broad rotation aloft in that storm. So we need to keep an eye on it, because as we've seen tonight with the storm we had go over the metro, you know, we had that storm die out and then redevelop very quickly again. And this storm that's over Pleasantville is kind of out on its own. There's nothing interfering with air flowing into it here, so it has that advantage, whereas these storms behind it, they don't have that. They're all kind of merging together into a line, and the inflow going into the storms is being interfered with by other storms. So we definitely need to watch this. Now, we still have this warning in effect for parts of the metro area. I want to take a look at the velocity again. I didn't see anything there last time, and there really isn't much there. I just am not seeing much there right now. Still, you want to stay alert and stay in your safe space there. I would think if there is something there, it would be right in this area right in here. But it certainly seems to have weakened. And of course, it's cut off from any inflow by what's happening to the south there in Prairie City. So hopefully that storm continues to weaken.
Right, and we're just kind of on a time limit as well as they go through, I believe, 9:30 on that particular storm. Pleasantville, a little bit more active here, but we want to make sure that you stay safe. Gabe was just pointing out there have been no major incidences here, at least in the Des Moines Metro, with any damage or injuries, not yet, but that's good news. And there's still some inflow, outflow, but it's kind of it's starting to lengthen out a little bit, shaving each other off just a little bit, not the same turn that we had around Pleasantville, but it's still a dynamic system that is probably dropping a ton of hail here. High dynamics there as well for gusty wind, moving right across the Lake Red Rock. I know a lot of people down there enjoy, of course, a weekend on boats, on getting outside, but this is probably not the weekend. You saw our forecast. It looked pretty bumpy anyway as we went through the entire week. Well, now it's become a road bump for a lot of folks. This is going to be a long situation of rebuilding in some areas of western Iowa, and certainly back in Nebraska. We're so thankful that no major injuries have been reported. I just am amazed at watching that same system again poke down into the southwestern portion of the state. This tornado watch has to go past 9, right?
Yeah, they've shaved off. Let's see, they've dropped
basically this
Adair,
area.
Audubon, Boone, Calhoun, Carroll, Cass, Crawford, Dallas, Greene, Guthrie, Sac, and Story, and they've extended. They've added. Let's see here. Davis has been added. Mahaska, Marshall, Poweshiek, Tama, and Wapello have been added.
What's the time on it?
Let me see here. I believe it's
Midnight.
Midnight. Okay. Yeah.
midnight.
Thanks, Jeriann. Yeah.
I am seeing reports from the police in Des Moines just saying, hey, they've got multiple poles down. And so they just really don't want people driving around. And that would be on East University Avenue, nearest east-west option, it says. That's 3300 block of Valdelia Road. So I would put that kind of out by the fairgrounds.
A little bit east
so
of the fairground,
just be mindful, now is not the time to be driving around. I also heard from some folks earlier saying, hey, we experienced some power outages. We're scared. We want to know what's going on. Go to your cell phone. Again, we're live streaming this as well. Tell some family members. They can just put us on, as well as I did hear from a friend who's out on the roads right now saying, hey, what should I do? You know, the best thing is obviously find a gas station, pull over, and get a grip on where you are compared to where these storms are located as well. We do want to continue to stress the highest threat for tornadoes is moving off to the east, southeast. I mean, east, southeast of the metro area. If we can show Max 2 so I can explain to you what's going on here. The city of Des Moines itself remains under that tornado watch, but many areas now to the north and west are no longer in that tornado watch. Obviously, our biggest concern right now and our reason for being on air is because all of these radar returns we're seeing continue to show rotation, and unfortunately even indicating that some of these could be on the ground. And since it is so dark at this point, it would be difficult to see. So these are the communities remaining in that tornado warning: Mingo, Mitchellville, Prairie City, and again, that would be along I-80 in between Mitchellville and the Colfax area. Also right around Monroe and stretching down to near Pleasantville. You're still under the tornado warning, and areas near Indianola as well as Milo remain under that tornado warning as well. The city of Des Moines does remain under tornado watch, as I mentioned, as we do have a few more thunderstorms still popping up to the west, but the strongest storms right now are east of Altoona, and even that just changed here with the latest tornado warning. You can see we have one tornado warning in effect at this point, so I'm going to go through that before I get back to Ed Wilson here. And that tornado warning is in effect until 10 p.m. This is our only tornado warning in effect, and that's Jasper and Marion County. And that would be Pleasantville to right around the Monroe area. So I can see Jason Parkin over there checking it out. But I also don't like what I'm seeing to the west, as it does look like those storms are starting to bow out just to the west, which could equal some stronger winds. But Jason and Ed Wilson, you want to break down this latest tornado warning?
Absolutely, and I'm just looking on social media. Willard Sharp is a great guy that we've talked to before. He's been a storm chaser for a long time. You can follow him on X, or used to be Instagram. He's put out some pretty great pictures of what it was look like around the Creston area. We are going to get a lot more pictures as well from you. We appreciate your photo links that you send us. So this is that area around Swan, back down to Pleasant Hill, southeast of Des Moines. You can see south of the I-80 corridor, which now does not have that warning on it. That's good news. But over toward Monroe, this is all, again, that line of severe thunderstorms, but more importantly, that tornado warning. Jason was just kind of zoomed in there on that, the inflow and outflow. We don't see a great signature out of this one, but
No.
it's still popping. You can see some of these brighter colors, those purples, magenta, whatever you want to call it. That is indicating there's probably some hail aloft. We're going to look at those systems kind of as a study guide, I think, for severe weather outbreaks. But this does show that, as Jason is just showing, it's when the rotation isn't there any longer, when it's kind of lengthened out, that's a good sign. We want to see more of that.
Yeah, it really, again, like I said before, it looks more like convergence, like air coming together and rising up into that storm than it does rotation. But again, as we've seen tonight, that doesn't mean that can't happen. And so folks in that warned area need to just, still stay safe and stay in that safe spot from this storm.
It still has a pretty unique signature to it. I mean,
it does.
It's got that kind of curve here back on the back side of the system that, again, indicates there could be some still a rotation. But when we put the velocity scope in there showing which way the wind is moving in and out away from each other, away from the radar I should say, it doesn't really show a great signature. It's still going to be a whole lot of rain, probably some hail that's going to be affecting folks here from Monroe, Reasoner, Galesburg as we go through at least the next hour or so, a little more than an hour maybe. But that's all moving to the north and to the east, and we'll see if they still keep a warning on this. As Jeriann said, these storms that are building in behind this system that we have right over central Iowa are going right over areas that had the tornado warnings earlier today. So folks in Creston, back up along the Atlantic area, back into Stewart, just west of us here on I-80, this is going to be a whole lot of extra rainfall that's coming in behind this system. And there, as we mentioned, there is reports of the Creston area getting some damage, maybe to the hospital, but also, I believe, a retirement home there. But that tornado warning up in the Montgomery Page area has been canceled, but no warnings on this. It's just starting to kind of fan out a little bit, showing that bow, which means gusty wind. And certainly there's a ton of lightning with this. So if you're still trying to clean up in the dark on a night like tonight or any night, I'm very sorry. We hate to see that type of situation, but make sure that you're thinking about this logically. That can wait till tomorrow. If you have this next system move in, it's going to be heavy rain and a lot of lightning. You want to make sure that you keep safe. And we did have a lot of power outages, as we mentioned, power poles down on the east side of Des Moines. Maybe some areas still dealing with a lot of outages that we just haven't heard about. But this is another big line of rain, and this is going to be just the start of a busy next couple of days. Tomorrow, it's going to dry out during the daytime hours, the early morning into probably the early afternoon, but then tomorrow evening, we have another area right here from I-80 in southwestern Iowa to right up to Des Moines that has the 3 out of 5 risk area or risk level for severe weather. So you need to stay weather aware, even though we're getting past this one, and then a lot of rain on Sunday. We're going to be talking about very soggy situations for sure, which all in all may not be such a bad thing. We do love to see that extra rainfall that we need. Tonight, this is the risk area that we're watched for enhanced areas of risk for severe weather, whether it be severe thunderstorm warnings, possibly tornadoes, gusty wind, damaging wind, and some hail. Tomorrow, that will shift from Des Moines back down to Atlantic, to Creston, Lamoni, Sheraton. Now, that was what was put out earlier today, and it looks exactly the same as it was. It could change as we get closer to tomorrow, but that's going to be the evening hours tomorrow night into the overnight Sunday. And then on Sunday, we do have just that slight risk for severe weather. Creston, Sheraton, Oskaloosa, Ottumwa, Lamoni. But what is not really showing is some heavy rain. We're going to check out rainfall totals tonight, and in some isolated areas, of course, a lot more than others. But we will see some heavy rain by Sunday, Saturday night into Sunday. So that'll be something to consider if you are traveling or trying to be outside. But marginal risk over the rest of the state. Boy, I tell you what, that enhanced area really lived up to the prediction as well today.
Yeah, it sure did.
Yeah. Right now, we just want to clarify at 9:36, we just have that one tornado warning in effect. No big update. Overall, Jason, from what I'm seeing, it looks like it's starting to weaken.
Yeah, everything is, and I'm not terribly worried about what's happening out to the west. And I don't know. There's obviously a boundary out there that this is all forming on. I'm betting that it's elevated. And so, as you said, Jeriann, maybe a gusty wind threat. And obviously, you're going to see heavy rain here. And boy, you hate to see that, as Ed mentioned, for the folks that are starting to clean up and sort things out down around Creston, Afton, and other areas out there. I just don't feel like there's going to be much of a severe threat there tonight. Obviously, we'll be here to keep an eye on it. However, we still have the one warning left. And this is a tornado warning in effect for 24 more minutes for Jasper and Marion. This storm is kind of not well built right now. It has kind of a funny structure to it. If there is rotation, it's down here to the southwest of Monroe, kind of right in that area. And it's moving northeast at around 40 miles per hour. Let me put a storm track on that for you here. But again, it's not looking as good as it did earlier when it was to the west of I-35. And so things have been moving northeast at around 40 miles per hour tonight. So Monroe around 9:49, this would be coming through your area. I know you're already seeing rainfall there, and Reasoner around 9:58 before the end of this morning. There may be a little bit of small hail down here to the north of Pleasantville, down in this area. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit closer down here. But other than that, there's not much in the way indicating anything, a strong rotation in this storm right now.
Yeah, and it does not have that same signature. It doesn't have that same velocity signature for sure. Still looking at some of those bright areas of the little dots that were there that kind of have that purple and magenta look or color to them. That could be some hail, certainly still falling there. Gusty wind out ahead of that for Monroe. You guys are going to be seeing some wind gusts up near the Newton area as well, maybe up to 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts all the way through Highway 6. So Highway 163 down toward Pella. Pella, you guys have been missing this, and I know with tulip time coming up, you're not sad about that for sure. But this storm system still has that opportunity to build out behind this, and we could see some very gusty wind and some heavy rain, not only today, but again tomorrow and into tomorrow night and into Sunday. Does Fort Dodge still have that severe thunderstorm warning on top of it? Oh, it's gone.
Nope,
Good.
just one.
Awesome.
And Ed, I can walk through the next couple of hours here on Storm Path on Max 2 if you want to gather some new information, just in case you're joining us right now and you're hearing us talk about the potential for more storms tomorrow. We do want to let you know that we do think after midnight tonight, things will finally start to die down. We'll start off with some sunshine early on Saturday. But again, warm, humid. We have actually another low pressure system, extremely strong, moving into the state. And we still have the dynamics for more heavy rainfall and some strong to severe thunderstorms. So you can see here, based on storm path, those strong thunderstorms around 4, 5 o'clock in southern Iowa, moving through the metro again around 6, 7 o'clock, and then moving through the state off and on throughout the day on Sunday. So we do want to give you a heads up that there is another chance for more thunderstorms on Saturday. But we do just have one tornado warning still in effect right now, still a tornado watch for the city of Des Moines. But this is the one tornado warning still in effect. And that includes areas around Pleasantville as well as the Monroe area, and that will stay in effect until 10 p.m. Let's just kind of recap for folks in case you are just joining us right now. The strongest storms have passed the city of Des Moines, but we started off earlier tonight with tornadoes breaking out around Harlan and Minden and let's see, Carroll. We had tornado warnings. Unfortunately, we heard reports of lots of damage around the Creston community as well. And at this point, it does look like these storms are starting to weaken.
And that is good news. In fact, that tornado warning is now just in effect until
10 o'clock.
Yeah, till 10 o'clock.
20
so
minutes.
We'll keep going there all the way through. Again, we do have a lot of folks that are out and about. We are going to see again some of the video coming in from our teams that have been out tonight, but also from you, from our folks that send us our photo links. We appreciate that at WHO13.com on the weather page. But it is going to be a long time before we see probably another outbreak like this. I pray and I hope. But we do want to check out everything that we know as far as damage or injuries, and we're getting. Again, some word that there may be more within this line of this tornado warning that we still have up right around the Monroe area. So we do have crews that are out. A lot of power outages, a lot of poles down just around the Vandalia Road, back out to 3300 block near the Adventureland area. Also back a little closer to downtown Des Moines for the State Fairgrounds. Hail size 1.25 inches. This coming to us with this tornado warning that is still in effect until 10 o'clock for Jasper, Marion counties. You folks in Monroe kind of getting, looks like some hail, big time coming down there in these little spots where we have these purples. Jason helping me with the pointer, I appreciate it. But Monroe, you're kind of cut out right now in this little spot. Please stay within your house and within your safe space. These are storm signatures from the hail. So that's what we're expecting. Look at that heavy hail right there, and these darker or lighter areas in the gray. It's called hail tracks. the radar can actually hold that information and then compute it back to us. So we see when and how much hail was falling out of that. But the size right around there, looking at about 1 1/3 inches in diameter. So that's what we're seeing there, and that's why we still have that tornado warning going on. From Reasoner all the way along that leading edge from Monroe, and then again just north of Lake Red Rock, that's where we're not seeing, again, the severe thunderstorms. Thankfully for Lake Red Rock, there's more rain coming your way, though, behind this system. We still have that tornado watch in effect until midnight, and that will be a factor for these storms that have been maybe not your typical storms, still pulling in tornado warnings here after they've gone through and then have done so much damage, but also usually they'll fall apart, but we have rebuilding within probably what is an outflow from bigger storms that have happened either ahead of this system or this line or behind it. But very interesting to watch this happen tonight, not in the best way. So Des Moines, West Des Moines, you guys are going to get hit with some more rainfall, heavy rain at times, and all the way down through Creston, Madison County, Winterset, into Mount Ayr. Right now it's also seeing some heavy rain, all as this system continues to just kind of roll itself slowly out to the east. Earlier this week, we talked about the forecasting on into Sunday, and Sunday kept looking to be like it's going to slow down. These systems, we still have a lot of rain, a lot of storms to go through, but then that's going to slow down. We'll worry about that on Sunday, but it does look like we're going to see a lot of rainfall. And of course, we have news crews just waiting to go out tomorrow and to take care of some big time news coverage of areas that have been hit so far.
Let's take a look at this because the structure on this is looking better now, unfortunately, near Monroe. A big hook here on the latest radar scan. And I just want to check out velocity here. And really, yeah, unfortunately, this is tightening up a bit within this warning. It makes me wonder if they'll extend it here since we're getting close to the end time. But there definitely is rotation in that storm now. And you can see this big hail here. This hail core is, to put it simply, where it's supposed to be now. If this was built like a real supercell, just to the north and northwest of this hook.
That's where that hail is pulled around, and then the storm can't support it any longer. It gets pulled up to a higher level, and then it just falls down. Hail core, it's a hail dump coming out of these storms. But yeah, that's a significant signature of that hook right around Monroe, like it's a hand just holding Monroe there, right across that Highway 14 and Highway 163. Here's our slicing where we can go in and see just how high the storm system is promoting or holding onto that hail up to just less than 20,000 feet. And I believe that because our radar is pretty close to this area. I think that is probably the height of this, but the very top of that storm is just under 30,000 feet, showing off the dynamics of these monster supercells and what we've gone through tonight, what we've watched tonight. All of you with us that are still with us, we thank you so much. Make sure that you're safe, obviously, but we appreciate you sending in your information, your pictures, and we're going to get to those later once we're not doing all wall-to-wall severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings. Also looking just behind this as I get out of the way, from the Swan area back across that south side of Des Moines, southeast side of Des Moines to Pleasantville, a lot more rain on the way.
We was just checking the path of this storm too.
Wow, that is a dynamic signature right now.
Yeah,
Off
it really
of
is.
That hail in Monroe.
And you can see a hail spike coming off it now too.
Where it goes up to a level where we don't even have a color for that particular level, you know that is a ton of hail coming down right behind that, where it's almost wide open. So
I
Monroe,
think this is behind a scan here.
It is, yeah. Monroe, you're getting that you've had that hail moving through. Still that dynamic signature between the reds and the greens. We still have some spin there, but boy, that is a signature, as I said, when we don't even have a color to show that. It's called the DBZ, the strength of that level coming back to the radar. That's extraordinary. That is some big time hail coming down right at the moment.
It doesn't look as good here, but right here you see this blue sticking out here. It looks a little bit better on another radar display I'm looking at, but there's definitely some big hail in that storm as well.
Wow. It is still holding on to a severe level for sure. Tornado warning is still in effect until 10 o'clock for that area. Newton, you're getting dumped on with some heavy rain, but you'd be very thankful. It's not severe weather, not yet, in your area. We have these strong storms that are still creating this area from Monroe, severe weather right around Monroe, but this little spotty area here where we have that light, very bright area, and then an open space where there's not another color or brightness to show, and they have extended that tornado warning now out to the north and to the east of Monroe. So we have a new tornado warning that's going to be in effect at least as we go through the next, I would imagine, until 10:30 at least. 10:45, we'll see here in a second. But Kellogg, Newton, just as I mentioned Newton, we wish that you were not in that severe level line, but you are within this tornado warning for Jasper County. 2-inch diameter hail. I'm sure they're reading it off of this right here, the National Weather Service, who puts out these warnings, that is. And from Newton to Kellogg, right along I-80, you need to be seeking shelter now. And again, from Reasoner, just to the west of Reasoner, this is going to be moving right into you from Monroe to you, not very long distance there, and that's going to be a spot where I think we could see some redevelopment, some spin, and also some very large hail. So within these areas, your tornado sirens probably going off. We often say that's just for outside activity. Make sure that you have your 13 Warn Me app or whatever app you use to give you the information. Severe weather radios are still a thing. Keep them in your house and let you know indoors when this severe weather is going on.
Just trying to adjust that a little bit.
Yeah,
the storm speed is northeast at 30 now, so it's actually slowed down a little bit.
Slowed down.
Yeah.
So this is going to not only mean the dynamics of this tornado holding on, but also a lot of rain is going to be coming down within that line as this moves slowly now back up to the northeast, right through about 10:15 or 10:14 for Kellogg, but across that I-80 corridor, right into the teeth of this. If you're driving through that, it is going to reduce visibility to zero. We're talking like a blizzard, but with rain. So it's going to be tough to drive through, tough to do anything for the moment. Please don't go out if you don't have to. Looking at some of our storm team coverage from our newsroom, a couple of live shots where I see road closed signs, and also looks like state troopers who are out and about on some roads that have very little light. I would imagine that's where those poles, power poles are down, and we'll be hopefully getting to that here as we get closer to the top of our 10 o'clock hour at WHO 13. We have been simulcasting on Fox 17. We'll do that right up till the top of the hour as well. And even on WHO radio, I heard from a couple of folks here that they've been listening tonight, so WHO radio taking our simulcast. I do see Roger Riley out taking in some of the views of where roads are closed tonight. So we're going to have that come your way in just a little bit. Still a tornado warning. We stay on the air as long as we need to make sure that these folks stay safe until this warning has been canceled or it looks like that system has fallen apart. We want to make sure that you stay very safe, though, and that's still, hey, boy, Jason, that's some good rotation right there.
Yeah,
not in a good way.
It really has improved, and as I said earlier when we were talking about convergence, and I said, it doesn't mean anything because it could tighten up again, and there it went.
It's just amazing. I mean, and we're talking as meteorologists who've been around for a while, Jeriann, Jason and I, and this is really amazing. This keeps going, and we still see these tornadoes popping up within the system where normally, we get into an atmosphere with these big storms. It usually takes it out, if for lack of a better word, of these storm systems. We just don't see rebuilding of tornadoes like this. Tonight, this has been an unusual evening for sure, and I'm sorry we've had to interrupt all of your programming tonight. I know that you don't like that. Again, for the Wheel of Fortune fans, that's going to be on at 2 o'clock in the morning. You can watch that. But this is a big area of hail that's coming around this side of Reasoner. 10:16 is the timeline for Kellogg up at the very end of that. But of course, a lot of farming communities there, south and east of Newton.
Bunch of hail fell out west of Reasoner there.
I was showing that earlier, where we didn't even have a color to show for the DBZ that's coming out of that. So that's, again, the strength of the radar coming back at us. But
it's going to be some insurance agents busy west of Reasoner in many areas.
I'm afraid
tomorrow.
there's going to be a lot, and not just for hail. It's going to be a lot of damage here as we've gone through a devastating time in western Iowa, back into Shelby, just one of the areas that was hit so hard tonight, and then also back into Omaha and Lincoln, especially, where this whole system started earlier this evening. Those were massive tornadoes. I would say, and again, we wait for survey crews from the National Weather Service to go out and check the damage afterwards to see what kind of an EF rating they put on it, but just judging from what I saw, it has to be an EF4 in many of those locations. Hopefully that's not happening in Reasoner. It does not have that same dynamic. We can be thankful we weren't in Nebraska tonight watching those storms hit our homes, but Reasoner, seek shelter, stay there right now, stay where you are. This is that heavy hail behind this, probably going to show up just like that last hail signature that we had from Monroe. So there's going to be a hail drop for you folks, and it is now that new scan pushing it right across Reasoner and moving to the northeast as that latest radar scan came through. You folks in Kellogg, get ready, and I-80 from Newton back to I-80 right over the Speedway. You need to be, again, ready for this. It's heavy rain, lots of lightning. You don't need to be outside in this stuff tonight for sure.
Yeah, I'll zoom in a little bit here so we can see if there is a tornado here, and we don't know that for sure. There's of course a warning, but if there is one, it would be just, I would say, 2 miles or 1 mile east of Reasoner here on Highway F62. And again, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So will eventually, it's going to obviously move over a lot of farmland to the east of Highway S74 south here, a lot of county roads, and then eventually would be heading up toward Kellogg. And boy, I sure hope it falls apart before it heads in that direction. It's just crazy. Yeah. And you were talking about this earlier. I thought when these storms got to Highway 169 and ran into this cold air, they would just fall apart tonight, and they didn't. And
they've strengthened afterwards.
Right, and the sun set just after 8 o'clock. It's almost 10 o'clock, and we still have a tornado warning and a storm with good rotation in it. So this is, certainly unusual in my experience.
It is, and again, just another example of we were watching these severe weather issues with the tornadoes in Nebraska and into western Iowa, but that tornado signature is still holding on here in Reasoner. We only had the tornado watch in effect until 9 o'clock for central and southwestern Iowa. Now that tornado watch has been expanded. The Storm Prediction Center put out this watch until midnight tonight, and it does include this area. So good for them to allow that to continue and to make sure that we keep people weather aware. Jasper County until 10:30 tonight with that 2-inch diameter hail. I would maybe guess just from radar signatures, it might even be bigger than that in some locations. We did see 3-inch diameter hail in southern Iowa, again, off of radar signature. But Newton to Kellogg, get ready. This is going to be right on your doorsteps here as we go through the next at least half an hour. We're coming right up on 10 o'clock until 10:30 is that particular warning. And it's now moving at around 30 miles an hour. That's what Jason mentioned earlier. This thing is slowed down. So Kellogg, Oakland Acres, I've seen that pop up before. Again, Oakland Acres on our radars when we've been out doing severe weather just like this. But Highway 6 north of Newton, right along that I-80 corridor, be prepared. It's going to be a really long, it's going to feel like a long time, but some very heavy rain, hail possible, and still keeping a signature on that very tight tornado signature earlier. It is kind of closing in, kind of ringing around itself. But I'm not ruling anything out. This is another little notch here that could be forming a little bit north and east of Reasoner, where we're watching that line continue to pull in maybe another tornado out of that same system. It is just remarkable.
The rotation in this storm has broadened out a bit, which is good news here. You can see it's probably, 4 or 5 miles wide now, if not more. And so it wasn't not as tight as it was earlier. But as we've seen tonight, you can't, let your guard down on these because they'll now this hook is kind of being absorbed back in with the rest of the precipitation in this supercell.
This was that hook, that open space.
Yeah.
I'm watching this guy right now, but Yeah, it is. It's closing in on itself, kind of just enveloping all of that open space. So that could possibly be good news. We still have that tornado warning, though, that is in place for this area of Jasper County, moving back up to the north and to the east until 10:30. This particular warning just south of there, I think, ends right at the top of the hour. But you can see red to green. Whenever you see that, there is some inflow and outflow that's close to one another. When it closes off like that, it kind of looks like a gate. Well, the gate-to-gate shear that we talk about, I've used that term before. That means the inflow and the outflow is right along that line. So that's where we're finding still a pretty good rotation, pretty decent rotation, I should say.
Still there.
Yeah, it's still there, but a lot flowing around that thing with that hail falling out of it. It's usually where we see these storms fall down, fall apart. But they have just held together tonight. It's been a crazy ride for so many people across our state. And of course, back out into eastern Iowa, you guys are thinking, what are you talking about? Hasn't been a problem. Well, obviously it hasn't made it to your area yet, and be thankful because it won't be as severe tonight as we go along that I-80 corridor out to the east. Stronger storms redeveloping again from Story County, Boone County, all the way down through Dallas County. These are soakers that are going to drop a lot of rain. When it starts to look like a corkscrew,
Ed, that
means
tornado
it's
warning's
rolling
done,
in.
by the way. Sorry about that. Yeah.
That's
It's
good news.
done, and I'm starting to see that we are experiencing some gusts with that stronger system just to the west at this point. Some 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts being reported around Dallas Center just a little bit earlier.
You know what? And this is a good time for us to get to the top of our news hour, right around 9:58. This is WHO 13 from Des Moines, Iowa. Janae Town has been here all evening in helping us to, if we had to go live but when we're on tornado warnings, we can't get to all the news. But Janae, I understand that you do have some of the damage from areas, especially around Creston tonight.
Yeah, you've been telling us all night that that really has been in the eye of the storm. The Union County, Creston area, not hit once, but twice. We want to bring in Dustin Dean. Dustin Dean is from the Casey's in Creston, a spot that a lot of us will stop at when we're down in that area. Ed telling people to take shelter if they need to, if they've been out in the roads in Creston. Dustin, can you hear me? Tell me what you experienced this evening as the storms rolled through.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad at first, but the second cell that hit us, that's when the hail started. And we had two different instances of hail. Me and my coworkers, we don't know if it touched down, but in the newer district that got ravished, I heard 15 years ago from the last tornado that came through here, got hit again. Roofs torn, trees falling on different buildings. Our senior center actually out by the hospital completely